You didn't fail. You stopped. And you stopped. Right before everything would have changed. Not because it didn't work, but because it didn't look like it was working. And in that moment, it feels real. The doubt. The setback. That quiet voice saying, "See, it's not working." But what if that moment, the one that makes you want to quit, is actually the moment you were closest to your breakthrough? Today, I'm going to show you why this keeps happening and how to make sure it never happens to you again. Welcome to SPIRITA VIVO. Today we are talking about the single biggest misunderstanding in the world of manifestation. It affects almost everyone, and it is the reason so many people keep falling short, not because manifestation does not work, but because they stop at exactly the wrong moment. And by the end of this episode, you will have your own personal reset tool ready to use the next time life tries to knock you off course. Let me ask you something. Does this sound familiar? You want to bring something into your life? You step into the feeling. You see it, you feel it. For a day or two, everything flows. And then something happens. Maybe an argument, a bill you were not expecting, a glance at your bank account. And just like that, you fall out of the state. The doubt creeps back in. The negative thoughts. That old familiar question. Why does this always happen to me? Here's a picture I want you to hold in your mind. Imagine you have been planning a trip to Hawaii for months. You packed your bags. You booked the flight. The hotel is confirmed. You are on your way to the airport and suddenly you hit traffic. Would you turn around? Would you say, "This is a sign? I'm not going anymore"? Of course not. But that is exactly what most of us do when we are manifesting. Now, here's something I really want you to understand. Everything you desire already exists, not as a fantasy, not as wishful thinking, as a real potential. In quantum physics, this is called the state space. Every possibility exists simultaneously, as waves, as potentials, until one of them is brought into form through focus and alignment. Your dream life is real. It is not something you need to create from scratch. It is already there. You just need to find the right frequency to receive it. Think about a radio signal. Your favorite station is broadcasting right now, in this very moment. But if your radio is tuned to the wrong frequency, you will not hear a single note. The signal is still there. It never stopped. You are the radio. Your inner state is the dial. I want to give you a picture that has helped me tremendously. Imagine your life is not a single path. Imagine countless parallel paths, all existing at the same time. On one path, you are financially free. On another, you are experiencing the love of your life. On another, you are traveling the world doing what you love. Every single one of those versions of you already exists. Which path you walk does not depend on what happens to you. It depends on which inner state you are living in right now. I think about my friend Carol. Carol is 52, lives in Columbus, Ohio, and spent years trying to change her life. She read the books. She visualized. She said the affirmations. But she kept ending up disappointed. Why? Because every time something small went wrong, Carol thought, "This proves it is not working." But here's the thing. Carol was on the right path the whole time. She just kept leaving it herself. Here is the truth that changes everything. You do not leave the right path because something bad happens. You only leave it when you start believing that it means something bad. Your mind is wired to spot problems. It was trained to assess risk, to analyze setbacks, to expect the worst. That is just evolutionary biology. It kept your ancestors alive. But your mind is not a good compass for your spiritual growth. The moment you say, "Oh no, everything is falling apart," you shift your frequency. Not because the event itself was bad, but because you interpret it as proof that you are on the wrong track. You are on the right path for as long as you believe you are. And here is something else. Sometimes the detours are necessary. Manifestation is rarely a straight line. Sometimes you need to learn something first. Sometimes you need to grow before you can receive. I remember a time in my own life when I had almost nothing in my account, and I invested in a program I could barely afford. My mind told me I was crazy, but I felt richer than I ever had because I knew I was moving in the right direction. And before long, that feeling reflected back to me in the physical world. Not because I had money, but because I felt like I already did. That is the key. So, what do you actually do when you fall out of the state? Step 1. Acknowledge it. No self-criticism. No drama. Just okay, I slipped out. That is all. Step 2. Step back from the outside world for a moment. Not forever. Just briefly. Close your eyes. Breathe. Step 3. Remind yourself of what you know. Your goal already exists. The path is already there. What just happened is not proof that you are failing. Step 4. Return to the feeling of the wish already fulfilled. Not by forcing it. Not by willpower. By permission. You simply allow yourself to already be it. Now here's your exercise for today. I'm calling it the reset card. Grab a piece of paper or your phone. Whatever is close, write down 3 things in your own words. First, what is the setback pattern that knocks me out of alignment every time? Be specific, not vague. What actually happens? Second, what would the version of me think who already has what I want? Not what they would do. What would they think if this exact same thing happened to them? Third, what is my one-sentence reset? One single sentence you say to yourself when you fall out of the state. Something like, "This is part of the path. I am still exactly where I need to be." But write your own. One that actually feels true to you. Those 3 sentences are your reset card. Put them somewhere you will see them. On your mirror, in your journal, as your lock screen. The next time life pushes back, and it will, you will know exactly what to do. Carol eventually got it. She stopped treating every setback as evidence. And suddenly, without anything dramatic changing on the outside, everything shifted. The right people showed up. The right doors opened, not because the world had changed, because Carol had. That is it. Your inner state is everything. The outside world is just a mirror, and you have never truly left the right path unless you told yourself you did. You do not need to know how it will happen. You do not need to plan every step. You just need to stay on the frequency. Everything else will find you. This is Spirita Vivo. I am glad you are here today. If this episode moves something in you, share it. There might be someone in your life who needs to hear this right now. Until next time, live lightly.